All right, so are you ready to dive into something pretty fundamental?
Always.
How to make our kids feel truly loved. And, we're going deeper than the usual, like hugs and kisses.
Oh, yeah. Way deeper.
We're going to explore how each kid, experiences love differently.
Yeah.
So we're going to be drawing insights from children and love languages.
It's from the book, The Five Love Languages.
Yes. And, you might already be familiar with this concept, like for adults, but applying it to children.
That's where the real magic happens.
That's where the real magic happens. Okay, so tell me, why is recognizing my child's love language such a game changer?
Okay, so imagine for a second you're trying to talk to someone
Okay.
who speaks a totally different language.
Right,
You could be saying all the right things, but they're just not getting it.
right.
It's the same with love.
Okay.
Every child needs it, craves it,
Yeah.
but they all have a unique way of getting it and receiving it.
It's not just about showing affection in the way that we think is best. It's about speaking their language, so to speak. So let's unpack these different languages.
Okay, the first one is words of affirmation.
Okay.
And for some children, verbal expressions of love, those are everything.
Right.
Those I love yous or
Yeah.
you did a great job. They're not just words.
Right.
They're powerful affirmations that sink deep into their heart.
Yeah, it's like those words become little building blocks of self-worth. But here's the thing, as my kids are getting older, I find myself slipping into like criticism mode.
Yeah.
It's so easy to correct them.
It's so easy.
Have I been speaking the wrong love language this whole time?
Well, it's a common pitfall,
Okay.
because as children develop,
Hmm.
they still need that positive reinforcement,
Okay.
especially in those teenage years when they're figuring out who they are.
Right.
So instead of focusing on what they did wrong,
Right.
how about we try to acknowledge their effort, even if the outcome wasn't perfect?
Right. You're right. A simple, I appreciate you trying your best can go a long way.
Exactly.
Okay, what about quality time? I feel like that one is almost a universal need.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah.
But the way children experience quality time can be very different.
Yeah.
For some, it's not about just being in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
It's about engaging with them on their level.
So putting down the phone, getting on the floor and playing with them, entering their world.
Exactly.
Oh.
Like imagine a child who is engrossed in building a Lego masterpiece.
Okay.
They don't want you to just glance at it and say, good job.
Right.
They want you to be present in that moment.
Just participate.
Yes.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I was a kid, my dad and we would play catch in the evenings until it was almost too dark to see.
Oh, wow.
I can't really remember what we talked about, but I remember that feeling of connection.
That's the magic of quality time.
Yeah.
It creates lasting memories,
Right.
a sense of belonging that words alone can't always give.
So next up, we have receiving gifts. I'm a little hesitant about this one
Okay.
because I'm definitely guilty of showering my kids with gifts sometimes.
Well,
Am I creating a monster?
I think it's a valid concern. But remember, it's not about the quantity or the cost of the gifts.
Okay.
It's about the thought behind them.
So I saw this the other day. My son, he got this new video game, and he was way more excited about the box that it came in
There you go.
than the game itself.
That's it.
It's about the gesture.
Yes. The thoughtfulness.
I was thinking of you.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be expensive or big.
Yeah.
It just has to say that.
I'm starting to see the nuance here. Each of these love languages has a depth that I hadn't fully grasped before.
Absolutely.
So now, acts of service.
Okay.
Is this about doing everything for our kids? Because I got to draw the line somewhere.
No, it's not about being their servant.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that for some children,
Okay.
those everyday acts of service, like packing their lunch or helping them with a school project, even fixing a broken toy,
Right.
they see that as a real expression of love.
So it's those little things, I've got your back without saying the word.
Exactly. It's that effort that you put in to make their lives easier and show them you're there to support them.
Yeah.
And for a child whose primary love language is acts of service,
Right.
those actions, they speak volumes.
Okay, so last but not least, physical touch. This one seems pretty self-explanatory, but I'm sure there's more to it than just hugs and kisses.
Right.
I see.
Physical touch is deeply primal, and it starts from the moment a child is born.
Right.
Those cuddles, skin-to-skin contact.
Okay.
It's not just comfort. It creates a sense of security
Right.
and emotional bonding.
And even as adults, we crave that during times of stress or sadness.
Totally.
It's like our bodies just instinctively seek that.
Yeah.
And as children grow their need for physical touch, it evolves.
Yes, it does.
It might be a pat on the back or a high five or even just playful wrestling.
Right.
The key is to be attuned to their comfort levels and how they're feeling.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've explored these 5 love languages, and I'm already kind of questioning my parenting approaches a little bit.
It's a journey.
It is a journey, but how do we figure out which language really resonates with our own children?
Okay, so think of it like a detective game.
Ooh, I love a good mystery.
I knew you would.
Okay, so what clues should I be looking for?
Pay attention to how they express their love to you.
Okay.
Do they shower you with hugs, or do they constantly bring you little gifts?
Okay.
Or are they always eager to help you with chores?
So they might just be mirroring their own love language
You got it.
back to me.
Exactly.
Okay.
Also consider what they ask for most often.
Okay.
Are they constantly seeking praise?
Uh-huh.
Do they crave that one-on-one time?
Okay.
Or do they light up when you offer to help them with something?
I'm starting to feel like a detective already.
I love it.
What about siblings, though?
Yes.
Can love languages differ within the same family?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's a common misconception that siblings should have the same love language.
Okay.
But think about it. Your children, they are individuals
Right.
with their own unique personalities and needs.
Right.
Just because they share DNA doesn't mean they experience love in the same way.
So one child might really love words of affirmation,
Exactly.
but another might just love quality time.
Exactly.
Oh.
The Five Love Languages book, it actually shares an example of this.
Oh, really?
It talks about a family with a daughter who loved those quiet evening walks with her dad. But her son, he preferred driving to destinations.
So same parents, same loving intention, but different ways of experiencing that love.
Exactly.
This is blowing my mind. I'm already feeling overwhelmed.
It's a lot.
But in a good way.
It is.
This is a conversation that needs to continue, but let's take a quick break.
That's good.
We'll be right back.
All right.
Okay, so we're back, and I have a confession to make. This whole conversation has got me wondering if I've been, like, unintentionally messing up with my kids.
How so?
What happens if we miss the mark, if we're speaking the wrong love language to our kids?
It's a question a lot of parents have. And the truth is, those missed connections, they can really have consequences.
Okay.
Think of a teenager who's acting out, maybe withdrawing or getting into trouble. On the surface, it might look like typical teenage angst.
Right.
But underneath, it could be a cry for love.
Okay.
Like their emotional needs aren't being met.
Oh, that's sad. You know, we think we're doing the right things, showering them with affection in the way that we feel it, but maybe it's not actually what they need.
It's like you're trying to give them pizza when all they want is a salad.
Right, yeah.
The source material, it actually mentions this really interesting statistic
Okay.
from Dr. Ross Campbell.
Okay.
He's a psychiatrist who has worked a lot with adolescents.
Okay.
And he noticed that almost all of the teenagers he treated who were engaging in risky or harmful behaviors, including sexual misconduct, had a history of unmet emotional needs.
Wow, that's intense. It really shows how important it is to understand and speak our children's love languages.
It really is. It's not just about making them feel good. It's about their well-being.
Absolutely. And the good news is it's never too late to fix things.
Never too late.
If we realize we've been speaking the wrong love language, we can fix it. So how do we do that? How do we start speaking a language that our kids truly understand?
Open and honest communication is key, especially with older children.
Okay.
So you can acknowledge that maybe you haven't always gotten it right. You can explain that you're learning about love languages and you're really committed to understanding their needs better.
Yeah, that's powerful. It's not about pretending to be the perfect parent.
No.
It's about showing them we're willing to grow and learn.
Yeah, exactly. And it gives them that safe space to open up about their feelings.
Right.
You could even ask them directly, what makes you feel most loved?
Okay.
What are some things I do that make you feel special?
Those are great questions.
Right. It opens up that dialogue.
Yeah, it does.
And once you have a better idea of their love language,
Okay.
that's when the work really begins.
Okay.
You got to make the effort to speak that language,
Okay.
to show them love in a way that they actually get.
It's like we've been given the secret code to unlock their hearts.
That's a great way to put it.
And once we have it, the possibilities for connection are endless.
They are.
But I imagine it's not always easy.
No, it's not.
There will be times when we mess up or misunderstand their signals.
Of course.
But we just have to keep trying.
You got to keep observing, keep adjusting.
I'm curious, have you actually seen this play out with families?
Oh, yeah.
Can you give us an example of how understanding a child's love language really made a difference?
So I remember working with this family, and the parents were just at their wits' end with their teenage son.
Okay.
He was withdrawn, irritable, constantly fighting with them.
Oh, yeah.
They felt like they were doing everything they could, cooking his favorite meals, buying him all the latest gadgets.
Sounds familiar.
But nothing seemed to be working.
Okay, so how did they figure it out? What was his love language?
Through a lot of observation and conversations,
Okay.
they discovered that his main love language was acts of service.
Okay.
He didn't really care about all the stuff or even the long conversations.
Oh,
What he really craved was their active involvement in his life.
no, okay.
He wanted them to be there to help him to be present.
It wasn't that he was being difficult. He was just trying to communicate his needs.
Exactly. And once the parents understood that they changed their whole approach,
Okay.
they started involving him in household chores.
Okay.
They started asking for his help with projects, even just sitting with him while he did his homework.
So simple, but so powerful.
It is amazing how much he changed.
Wow. Just by changing their language of love, they completely shifted their relationship.
It really was. And it wasn't about doing anything big or showy.
Right.
It was just those consistent acts of service that made him feel loved.
This has given me a lot of hope, but I also imagine some parents might feel a bit overwhelmed by all of this.
Sure, it's one thing to get the idea, but it's another to actually put it into practice.
So it's about making progress, not being perfect.
Exactly. The key is to just start somewhere.
Okay.
Maybe you set aside 10 minutes each day for one-on-one time with your kid. Maybe you make a point of complimenting them on their effort, not just their results.
Right.
Or maybe you just ask, how can I help you today?
Those are great starting points.
Yeah.
I like the idea of thinking of it as a journey, not a destination.
It is a journey.
We're all learning as we go.
We are.
And understanding love languages is just another tool we can use.
And it's a powerful tool.
It is.
When we speak our children's love language,
Yeah.
we're not just meeting their needs, we're building trust and connection.
Right. We're creating a foundation for a lifetime of love.
Exactly.
This has been amazing, but I know our listeners are probably eager for more specific advice.
Oh yeah, let's get practical.
Yeah, so let's dive into some strategies for actually speaking each love language.
Let's do it.
All right, so we've talked about the 5 love languages and why they're so important.
Yeah,
But let's get practical.
let's do it.
How can our listeners actually use this knowledge?
Okay, so let's break it down. Love language by love language, starting with words of affirmation. Remember, these kids, they really thrive on verbal encouragement and praise.
So just like shower them with compliments.
Well, it's a little more than that.
Okay.
It's about being specific and genuine in your praise.
Okay.
So instead of just saying, good job, you could try saying, I noticed how hard you worked on that drawing. I especially love how you used all the different colors.
Right, so it's about acknowledging their effort and like pointing out the things that we appreciate.
Exactly.
Okay, so what are some other ways we can speak this love language?
You can try leaving little notes of encouragement
Okay.
in their lunchbox or on their mirror.
Cute.
Tell them you're proud of them for facing a challenge, even if they didn't totally succeed.
Right.
And be really mindful of your tone.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it.
Right.
A harsh or sarcastic remark that can really sting.
Especially for a kid who really needs those words of affirmation.
Exactly.
Okay, what about quality time? How do we make those moments really count?
The key is to be present, both physically and mentally.
Okay.
So put away the phone, turn off the TV, and just give them your full attention.
So it doesn't have to be this big, elaborate thing.
No, not at all. Even 10 minutes of really engaged playtime can make all the difference.
I love that quality over quantity. Are there specific activities that are really good for this?
Anything that lets you interact and have that shared experience.
Okay.
So you could play a board game, build a fort, go for a walk, bake cookies together.
Yay.
The key is to choose something they enjoy and something that lets you talk and connect.
Okay, this is a tricky one. Receiving gifts.
Yeah.
How do we do this one without spoiling our kids?
Well, remember, it's not about the price tag. It's about the thought.
Okay.
It could be anything, a little something that makes you think of a book on a topic they like, even just a drawing you made.
So it's that I saw this and I thought of you gestured.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that. What about when we give gifts for birthdays or holidays?
Well, you can involve them in the process.
Okay.
Ask them what they want. Pay attention to their interests. And when you give them the gift, make sure you tell them how much you love them.
Okay.
The gift is an expression of your love, not a replacement for it.
Okay, so for acts of service.
Think about all the things you already do for your child every day.
Right.
Packing their lunch, getting them ready for school, driving them to activities.
So we're already speaking this love language in a way.
Exactly. And you can always do more offer to help with a project they're doing, fix that broken toy.
Okay.
Even just making their favorite dinner can be a big deal.
Right. It's those little things that show we care.
Exactly.
Okay, what about physical touch? This one seems hard, especially as kids get older.
Yeah, it takes being aware of their boundaries.
Right.
As kids grow, their comfort level with touch can change,
Okay.
but that doesn't mean they don't need it anymore.
So instead of forcing a hug on a teenager, maybe just the pat on the back?
Exactly. Little gestures can go a long way. A
Okay.
hand on their shoulder, a quick hug before school, even a tickle fight.
Right.
It's all about maintaining that connection in a way that feels good for them.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on parenting.
Me too.
But remember, everyone understanding your child's love language isn't about being perfect. It's about trying.
Couldn't agree more.
So what final thoughts do you have for our listener?
You don't have to do this alone.
Okay.
Talk to your partner, your friends, your family.
Okay.
Share what you've learned. Support each other on this journey.
I love that parenting is a team sport.
It really is.
The more we understand our kids, the better we can support them.
Absolutely.
So go out there and speak your children's love languages.
Ah,
It's worth it. That's a wrap for this deep dive.
thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Until next time, keep those connections strong.